Since we have another year to wait for the next season of Sonic Prime to be released, I thought it was completely reasonable to think about how it's going to end. Yes, that's right, we've already talked about how Season 3 is going to go, which by the way, you should definitely watch that video, but how will it end? Due to the fact that I've been thinking about Sonic Prime so much, if I was to think of it even more, my brain would go into a full-on meltdown, and I don't think I'd be able to think correctly for the next week. I decided to ask you. I put out a community post saying, hey, if you have any ideas on how Sonic Prime is going to end, comment them down below and I'll go through them for a video. I didn't put specifics on it being a happy ending. There could be happy endings, sad endings, cliffhanger endings, and I'm going to try and categorize them like that in this video. Well, not try, I am going to categorize them like that in this video. They're going to be categorized basically. So let's get on to... Now, at Sonic Plush Videos 4023 said, I think that Sonic Prime Season 3 will end with Nine coming to his senses and helping out Sonic for everything that he did in all the seasons. So he puts all the shards back together and all the different variations of his friends all have a group hug as they get put back to themselves, and the season and story ends with the shards back together. Sonic gets to see his normal friends again while Eggman tries to think of his next plan. And yes, let's be honest, if we're thinking of it actually, it will probably end with all of it going back to normal like nothing ever happened, with Eggman thinking of his next plot. Personally, I think if it ended with Eggman thinking of his next big plot or idea of what he's going to do, that'd be a perfect way to introduce another, let's say like another season, like Season 4. I think that'd be a perfect way to do it if we're even getting one, because it's not even really confirmed if we're getting one yet. We don't know. We might not. At Sugarbrush3671 says Season 3 should end with all variants and normal friends living happily ever after. The final battle should feature Supersonic, all the characters amazed by him. And yes, I think Supersonic should be in the show. I don't know if they were trying to rule that out with the possibility that Shadow dropped that emerald literally immediately, so that was their way of going, you're not getting him this season, unlucky. But I'm still going to campaign and hope and pray that we see him. I just think he'd look so cool with the Prime design, you know? I think he'd look beautiful. At your favourite FNF and BFB fan 67 says Season 3 should end with all the variants still alive and Green Hill rebuilt. Nice, short and simple. And let's be honest, it most likely will be a nice little happy ending with that, but the happy endings are pretty much done now. Let's get on to... We know that Sonic Prime absolutely loves to drop cliffhangers every single time they can. I'm pretty sure every episode ends with a cliffhanger, if I'm remembering it correctly. So honestly, it wouldn't be absolutely insane for them to drop a cliffhanger ending on the actual ending of the show. It just seems like, I don't know, it just seems like something they'd like to do to just, because, you know, they like to mess with it. Anyways, at CavstarAnimate says, Sonic says to the viewer, it's Sonic Prime time, and then the screen fades to black. Now personally, I love this one because it's a reference to the greatest movie of all time, Morbius, which stars a dangerously ill with a rare blood disorder and determined to save others from the same fate, Dr. Michael Morbius attempting a desperate gamble. While at first it seems to be a radical success, a darkness inside of him is soon unleashed. Obviously as well, a callback to Sonic Unleashed. I just think a reference to Morbius would be the best way this show could end. Next is... that seems to be the only cliffhanger ending that was commented. There doesn't seem to be many cliffhanger endings, so looks like it's time to go back to... At Silver the Future 468 says, I think everything will go back to normal in Green Hill, and same goes with all of their worlds. Sonic is most likely going to want to stay in Green Hill. Either Nine stays behind in his universe now that the Chaos Council are gone, or goes with Sonic or stays in Grim. But I strongly believe that he will stay in his universe and will most likely befriend the gang in his universe. I don't think everyone in the universe is going to be truly gone, but sure Nine will figure out a way for him to not be erased in any way. If Nine managed to create something that somehow kept all of the variants, I don't know, in some sort of device that Sonic can talk to, or it just keeps them, like, alive, that would be such a sick way to keep them included, without it being like a cop-out of, oh look, they're actually still here. Turns out it doesn't affect them at all. Yeah, cool. 10 stars at, Christitista ignore the app. Says, I just want a happy ending. I don't like bad or sad endings. I want it to be where Sonic gets all the prison pieces back from Nine once Sonic gets him to realise the error of his ways. Put all the pieces back in the right places where they belong and turn everything in Green Hill back to normal, and Sonic will get his real friends back. And since we saw that nice little tease, you know, of, oh, Sonic got his friends back in Season 2, I think it will most likely end with them all coming back together, with Sonic and Shadow probably being the only ones that remembered what happened, since they were the only ones that weren't affected. Maybe they'll do one of two things. They'll either play it off and pretend like nothing happened, or they'll actually just come like and tell them and just be like, yeah, all this stuff happened, it was mental. At Artist_Unbound said, I feel like Prime will end with like a Secret Wars ending. The Shatterverse will collide in on itself, forcing the variants to fight one another. Sonic and Shadow might finally make amends and get along better. I also feel like Nine will sacrifice himself to destroy the Shadowverse, erasing himself, the Chaos Council, and the variants. Only Sonic and Shadow will remember the events of Prime. There has to be an explanation for why they don't address the multiverse after this. And again, a common theme that I've seen a lot of people talk about, and one that I think will end up actually happening, is Nine just sacrificing himself. At some point in the show, I imagine he'll realise, oh, I'm not doing the right thing, like, at all. This isn't going to work out as well as I think it is. And who knows, he might figure out that sacrificing himself is the right thing to do and just end up doing it, even though it might make, like, Sonic super upset. But then he'll cheer up when he sees all his friends back. Okay, now that we actually have some happy endings out of the way, let's move on to the... At Norsarag2284 says, if it's a sad ending, I think it's seeing one of the clone characters die or her narrative fade in front of Sonic and grieves deeply. And something I have wondered throughout most of this series is if one of the variants died, because my guess of the variants are like little slices that were taken out of each character, like a bunch of different personalities and all put together. Like there's a version of Tails 9, which is like the super smart techie version, and stuff like that. You know what I'm talking about, right? So if somehow a variant just managed to kill over and completely die, when all of the universe got put back together, would that part of them just be gone? Like, let's say Nine was fighting the Chaos Council and, oh no, they killed him. Like, he is actually gone. He is dead. When it got all put back together, would Tails just be not good at, like, making things? You know what I'm talking about? Like, construction? Would he just not be good at doing that anymore? Or are the variants just, like, based off the worlds that they're in and I'm just being, like, an absolute idiot and I'm just thinking of it terribly? I don't know. But anyway, another sad ending. Again, there's no sad endings. Why does nobody want any sad? Oh my god, let's go back to the... Ola YW9NL says, I do believe all the alternative versions of the characters will cease to exist, but I think there's going to be some sort of agreement, some kind of like, if they find a way to keep every universe going, Nine might be like, promise to visit. That being said, the Chaos Council will be defeated and New York will see the Resistance be successful. And I think final episode, stuff like that will probably happen. There'll probably be like Sonic and Shadow doing some sort of fight in the Ghost Hill again, like this season's ending, and then they'll probably do the Resistance fighting up against the Chaos Council, and it'll keep switching between those rapidly and showing that like, oh my god, the Chaos Council is losing, the Resistance is actually winning. And then it'll show Sonic and Shadow finally getting their old world back, and right before you know all of the different universes cease to exist, the Resistance win. So they got what they wanted in the end. Now on to... There were a few people that commented like general ideas of what they'd like to see season 3 based around, or like what episodes close to the ending should be like, and I liked a couple of these, so I'm gonna share them because why not. At midnight_p.s. said, I honestly think that 9 is going to create the prison thingy in Grim. That's going to be the new blueprint, so each shatter space will begin to become a barren wasteland. So now it's a fight against the clock before all worlds look like the Grim. It would be cool to see the Chaos Council be forced to work with Sonic and the rest to deconstruct what 9 has done. And let's be real, I think a 9 villain arc is definitely coming for Sonic Prime Season 3. There's no way that 9 is going to just be like a happy, nice guy, nah. The thought of the Chaos Council realizing that if they want to like beat 9, they're gonna have to work with Sonic would be really cool to see, because I know they'd hate it. And Sonic, oh my god, he would be the most cocky person you'd ever run into. He would be so happy with himself. At BlackFlash09 said, not necessarily a prediction, but something I'd like to see. I'd like to know Rusty's backstory. I can imagine she was a normal hedgehog until the Chaos Council took over. She called out for 9's help while crushed under rubble, but he bailed on her. A lot of her memories were probably surpassed after she was enhanced. Seeing as the Flicky inside of her is based on Gamma's Flicky, her story might end the same, but as an alternative, she overloads her, absorbing the energy from the Paradox Prism. Her Flicky is freed, and Rusty returns to being a purely organic being. Yeah, that's the thing I don't really hear a lot of people talk about, the fact that Rusty is actually powered by a Flicky inside of her stomach. Like, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I forgot that that was a thing until they brought that up in this comment. But I feel like when it ends, it'd be a nice little callback to show that Flicky that was trapped, unlucky, really sad and miserable is free and finally happy to just like run around and do whatever. And yeah, Rusty's backstory, we have not seen anything to do with that at all whatsoever. Nothing. She just kind of appeared and was like, yeah, the Chaos Council made me. Even if it was the Chaos Council creating her from scratch, I still would want to see that. You know what I mean? I'd want to see them in like that early stages decided, let's just make like an Amy Rose robot, because why not? At Nathaniel Minecrafter says, well, my opinion is that I think 9 will realize Sonic didn't mean to only think about himself and saving his friends. Maybe he will realize he just misses his old friends and that Sonic does care for him, just like Tails. But personally, I don't see a way that the variants survive the merge in the end. P.S. I also want the Paradox Sonic 4, and honestly I think that's how it's going to end. As much as I would love Super Sonic, I think the ending's going to be, oh no, Sonic is failing, but he's going to power up since all the Paradox Prism pieces are there, they've got them all, and it's going to be some big, awesome, cool form that we haven't seen yet, because as I said in the previous video, he made his really cool form, but he only had like 4 shards. So that means there's a form even cooler and bigger that we are still yet to see, and I'm hoping Nine will realise that Sonic does care for him exactly like he is Tails, but just that he also cares about wanting to get all his friends back. And let's hope the series ends with Nine doing the right thing, all of it coming back together in a nice big happy ending. Again, if you've commented on this post, I thank you very much. Your comments will be scrolling by in a second. Shout out to @Cecilia in America for becoming a member. Thank you very much. You can also become a member if you click that nice sweet little join button. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe and like. I will see you all in a bit. Goodbye.